thousands of light years beyond the last charted trade routes, where even military patrols refused to travel. An alien salvage fleet drifted into a forgotten star system that no map dared to name. The star at its center had long since died, leaving behind a frozen graveyard of shattered moons and silent debris. It was the perfect place for secrets to remain buried forever. Then their scanners found something impossible. Suspended in the endless darkness was a colossal black battleship unlike anything the galaxy had ever recorded. It did not orbit a planet. It did not drift with the debris. It remained perfectly still, as though space itself had chosen to hold it in place. There was no distress beacon, no engine signature, no detectable power source, no life signs, no signs of battle. It simply waited in complete silence. When the fleet's computer compared the vessel against every known archive, one forgotten word appeared across every screen. Human. The bridge fell silent. That answer was impossible. Humanity had vanished nearly 6,000 years earlier. Most civilizations believe humans were only legends passed down through old stories. Some scholars insisted they had never existed at all, claiming the tales of impossible human technology were nothing more than myths invented to inspire young cadets or frighten reckless explorers. Yet the evidence floated directly in front of them. Its dark armor reflected no light, almost swallowing the stars around it. Beneath perfectly smooth metal plates rested weapon systems larger than entire modern cruisers. Yet every system appeared completely dormant. Time itself seemed unable to age the vessel. To the salvage company, however, it was not a mystery. It was unimaginable wealth. Even a single fragment of authentic human technology could make every crew member richer than planetary governors. Against the advice of nervous engineers, the captain ordered a boarding team inside. The airlock opened with a quiet hiss. Instead of decay, they found perfection. Every corridor gleamed as if polished only hours before. The air was fresh. The lights remained dark, yet nothing felt abandoned. There were no skeletons, no damaged equipment, no signs of panic or violence. It was as though the entire human crew had calmly walked away, promising to return at any moment. The silence grew heavier with every step. Then the ship responded. A door slid open before anyone touched it. Soft white lights awakened one corridor at a time. Ancient human symbols shimmered across the walls like stars coming alive after a long night. Strangely, every system reacted only when the youngest salvage worker, a quiet mechanic whom no one ever noticed, walked nearby. Fear spread through the crew. The captain immediately ordered a full retreat. Nobody reached the airlock. Massive security doors slammed shut throughout the ship, sealing every exit. At that same instant, the ancient battleship awakened. Deep within its endless hull, engines that had slept for 6,000 years rumbled back to life. A calm mechanical voice echoed through every corridor. Identity confirmed. Every heartbeat seemed to stop. Then the voice spoke a single name. Not the captains, not the fleet commanders, the mechanics. The forgotten worker stared in disbelief as the entire battleship came alive around him. Somehow, the last human warship had been waiting for him all along. The moment the ancient battleship spoke the young mechanic's name, the entire ship seemed to awaken with purpose. Thick security doors slid silently between him and the rest of the salvage crew, sealing every corridor in an instant. Panic spread through the team as they pounded on the metal walls, shouting for him to answer. But no reply came. Instead of trapping him like a prisoner, the mysterious vessel began guiding him forward. Soft white lights appeared one after another, illuminating a path through hallways no scanner had detected before. Hidden passages opened without a sound, as though the ship had been waiting thousands of years for someone to walk them again. Behind the sealed doors, the captain ordered every available tool and weapon into action. Plasma cutters burned against the walls until they overheated. Heavy demolition charges exploded with enough force to tear apart modern cruisers. Energy rifles fired continuously at the reinforced doors. Nothing happened. The brilliant black alloy remained flawless. Not even a scratch appeared on its surface. It was as if the battleship existed beyond the limits of modern science. The mechanic continued deeper into the vessel, his fears slowly giving way to curiosity. Every step felt strangely familiar, though he knew he had never seen this place before. Ancient human symbols glowed softly beneath his feet, almost welcoming him home. Finally, the passage opened into a vast circular chamber unlike any bridge he had ever imagined. There were no control panels, no command screens, no pilot seats, no navigation consoles. Only a floating sphere of shimmering white light suspended in the center of the room, pulsing gently like a living heartbeat. As he approached, the sphere brightened. A calm, powerful voice filled the chamber. "I am not artificial intelligence." The mechanic froze. "I am the final human guardian." The words echoed through the silent room with quiet authority. "My mission has remained unchanged for 6,112 years. A brief pause followed. "Protect humanity's legacy." The glowing sphere projected thousands of streams of light into the air, revealing scenes from a forgotten age. Entire planets appeared, followed by images of human explorers rescuing frightened alien civilizations from war, disease, and extinction. The Guardian explained that every living creature leaves behind microscopic biological signatures, patterns so unique they could survive through countless generations. Long before humanity disappeared, one desperate alien colony had been saved from extinction by human scientists. That act of compassion had left an invisible genetic marker within the survivors' descendants. The mechanic carried that forgotten inheritance, not because he was human, but because humanity had once chosen to save his ancestors instead of abandoning them. Across the ship, the trapped salvage crew watched the conversation through ancient security cameras. Arguments erupted immediately. Some believed the mechanic had secretly been human all along. Others accused the Guardian of manipulating him for an unknown purpose. Before anyone could uncover the truth, emergency alarms suddenly echoed throughout the battleship. Long-range sensors detected dozens of hyperspace signatures. A massive war fleet emerged from the darkness. These ships carried no rescue beacons, no diplomatic signals, only weapons. For centuries, they had hunted every rumor of lost human technology. Now, after thousands of years, they had finally found the greatest prize in the galaxy. As their flagship locked its targeting systems onto the ancient battleship, the Guardian spoke one quiet sentence. "They have come too early." Outside, the hunters prepared to seize the human warship before it could escape. Beyond the ancient battleship, the darkness of space filled with warships. One after another, massive enemy vessels emerged from hyperspace until the forgotten human ship stood completely surrounded. Their engines burned like blue stars, and countless weapon batteries slowly turned toward the silent giant. A transmission echoed across every frequency. "This vessel now belongs to the Dominion Recovery Fleet. Shut down all systems and surrender immediately. Any resistance will be met with total destruction." Inside the human battleship, the young mechanic looked toward the glowing Guardian. It did nothing. No weapons activated. No shields flared. No threats were returned. The ancient vessel simply remained still. Confused, the mechanic finally asked the question that had been growing in his mind. "If you're powerful enough to stop them, why don't you?" For several quiet seconds, the Guardian gave no answer. Then the bridge disappeared. The mechanic suddenly found himself standing inside an incredible projection of the past. Towering human cities stretched across peaceful worlds. Children from dozens of alien species laughed together in beautiful parks. Human engineers built starships beside friends from civilizations that no longer existed. Everywhere he looked, technology served life instead of controlling it. Another vision appeared. Gigantic human battleships floated above distant planets, their weapons capable of ending entire civilizations in moments. Yet they never fired. The Guardian's calm voice echoed through every memory. Humanity never measured greatness by the number of worlds it conquered. The images changed again. Human fleets stood between innocent colonies and invading armies, forcing wars to end before they could begin. Again and again, humans chose negotiation before violence, mercy before revenge, and protection before victory. Every human battleship was created for one purpose, the Guardian continued. Only defend, never dominate. The mechanics slowly understood. These incredible warships had never been symbols of conquest. They were shields, not swords. The greatest weapon, the Guardian said, is the one that never needs to be used. Outside the visions, reality grew darker. The Dominion commander mistook the human ship's silence for fear. His fleet opened fire. Blinding beams of plasma, antimatter torpedoes, and gravity lances crashed into the ancient battleship with enough force to destroy entire moons. Space itself trembled beneath the relentless assault. Inside, nothing moved. No alarm sounded. No systems failed. The ancient armor absorbed every attack as though the explosions were little more than falling rain. When the barrage finally ended, the legendary battleship remained exactly where it had been before, untouched except for fading sparks dancing across its black hull. The mechanics stared in disbelief. They can't even scratch it. They cannot, the Guardian answered. Then why are we still waiting? Because power without restraint becomes tyranny. The words struck him harder than any weapon. At that very moment, the enemy fleet celebrated too early. Believing the human vessel was crippled or unable to respond, the Dominion commander ordered every remaining ship into attack formation. One final strike. Every missile, every cannon, every superweapon. Enough firepower to erase an entire star system. Inside the bridge, the Guardian watched quietly as thousands of targeting signals locked onto the battleship. Its glowing sphere brightened for the first time since awakening. The calm voice that had never shown anger spoke one final sentence. Peace has been attempted. Across the bridge, forgotten human systems began to awaken. And for the first time in 6,000 years, the last human battleship prepared to answer. The moment the Guardian finished speaking, an uneasy silence spread across the bridge. Outside, the enemy fleet unleashed its final assault. Thousands of missiles raced through the darkness. Planet-breaking energy beams cut across space. Gravity cannons twisted the fabric of reality itself, all aimed at the lone human battleship. The young mechanic braced for impact, but the impact never came. Instead, the ancient vessel released no flash of light, no deafening explosion, and no devastating superweapon. It simply awakened. A soft silver wave expanded silently from the battleship, rippling through space like a calm breeze across a still ocean. There was no shock wave, no visible force, only a strange feeling that the universe itself had paused for a single heartbeat. Then the impossible happened. Every hostile missile stopped exactly where it was, frozen in space as though time had abandoned it. Energy beams faded into harmless light before touching the ship. Railgun shells lost all momentum and drifted away. The engines of every attacking vessel shut down simultaneously. Shield generators flickered once before disappearing. Targeting systems went dark. Weapon controls became completely unresponsive. Within seconds, the largest invasion fleet in the sector had become nothing more than a collection of silent ships floating helplessly in space. Not a single hull had been destroyed. Not one pilot had been harmed. Across nearby systems, observers stared in stunned silence as military broadcasts captured every second of the impossible event. Scientists argued that such technology violated every known law of physics. Admirals searched desperately for hidden weapons that did not exist. There were none. The human battleship had not overpowered its enemies. It had simply removed their ability to wage war. The mechanic looked toward the glowing Guardian, barely able to speak. You defeated them without firing a single shot. The Guardian's light pulsed gently. Victory purchased with unnecessary death is merely another defeat waiting to happen. On the enemy flagship, the Dominion commander slowly lowered his hands from the weapon controls. For the first time in decades of conquest, he understood why humanity had become a legend. People had never feared humans because their weapons could destroy worlds. They feared them because humans possessed the wisdom to end wars without creating generations hungry for revenge. One by one, the enemy captains powered down what little remained of their systems. Surrender requests began arriving across every communication channel. No one was forced to kneel. No one was humiliated. They simply chose to stop fighting. Peace had won where fear never could. The Guardian turned its attention back to the mechanic. My mission was never to wait for humanity's return. Images of ancient human families, explorers, and protectors surrounded the chamber. I was waiting for someone worthy to inherit what humanity valued most. The mechanic expected unimaginable weapons, forgotten star maps, or limitless power. Instead, the Guardian spoke softly. Not our technology, not our battleships, our values. Only then did the young survivor understand why the ship had called his name instead of anyone else's. It had never searched for the strongest warrior or the smartest commander. It had searched for the kindest heart. The Guardian's light grew brighter as it asked one final question. Will you protect peace, even from those who call peace weakness? The young mechanic stood in the silent bridge, surrounded by the glowing memories of a civilization that had vanished thousands of years ago. The Guardian's final question echoed through the chamber. Will you protect peace, even from those who call peace weakness? For a long moment, he said nothing. He was not a soldier. He had never commanded a fleet. He had never dreamed of becoming a hero. He was only an ordinary salvage worker who had boarded an abandoned ship in search of forgotten treasure. But now he understood what the human battleship had seen in him from the very beginning. It had never searched for the strongest warrior. It had searched for someone who would choose compassion even when given absolute power. The mechanic took a slow breath and nodded. I accept, not as a ruler, not as a conqueror, as a guardian. The glowing sphere brightened with quiet satisfaction. Then humanity's final mission may continue. Instead of unlocking planet-destroying weapons or granting command over unstoppable fleets, streams of brilliant light flowed gently into the mechanic. They carried centuries of human knowledge, science, medicine, engineering, diplomacy, history, and the countless lessons humanity had learned through both triumph and failure. At that same moment, something extraordinary happened across the galaxy. Ancient human beacons that had remained silent for 6,000 years suddenly awakened. Hidden archives buried beneath forgotten worlds unlocked themselves. Orbital medical stations powered back to life, releasing cures for diseases that had claimed billions of lives. Terraforming engines buried beneath lifeless planets activated once more, filling dry worlds with oceans, forests, and breathable skies. Long-abandoned human energy stations reignited, providing clean, limitless power to civilizations that had spent centuries fighting over dwindling resources. Every forgotten human gift returned, not as a weapon, but as an invitation to build a better future together. The news spread faster than light. Species that had once feared one another began sharing knowledge instead of guarding it. Old enemies signed peace agreements. Scientists, explorers, and healers worked side by side, inspired by a civilization that had disappeared long ago yet still found a way to unite the stars. Only then did everyone understand humanity's greatest achievement. It had never been the battleships. It had been hope. Inside the ancient vessel, the Guardian's light began to fade. My purpose is fulfilled, it said softly. The mechanic bowed his head with quiet respect. No, he replied. Your purpose lives on. For the first time in thousands of years, the Guardian sounded almost grateful. Thank you, Guardian. The bridge lights slowly dimmed as the immense battleship gently turned toward the endless sea of stars. Its engines glowed one final time before carrying the legendary vessel peacefully into the darkness, no longer as a forgotten relic, but as a symbol that its mission had finally been completed. Across the galaxy, generations of children would grow up hearing a different kind of legend. Not the story of the most powerful human battleship ever created, but the story of an ordinary alien who proved that kindness could be stronger than conquest, and that true greatness belongs to those who protect others when they have every reason not to. And so humanity's final promise was never lost. It simply found a new heart to carry it. The greatest weapon humanity ever created was never its battleship. It was the courage to protect life instead of taking it.